Hey, you want to hear something fun? Try out our sister station, Funny 97.3.
Comedy! Coming at you!
All comedy, all the time.
The opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and are not meant to diagnose or treat any particular medical issue. Always check with your doctor or eye care professional before making any changes to your vision care. Now the talk continues on Entertaining Talk Radio, NBC1260 and 96.1 FM. This is Healthy Eyes with Dr. C, live from the Best Buy studios at NBC1260 and 96.1 FM, every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. For many of us, our eyes are more than just a window to our world. They're part of how people perceive us, how we look, as well as how we see ourselves and others. There's so much more to Healthy Eyes than just a shape and color. Get in on the conversation. Call 480-423-1260 right now and find out how to keep your world in sharp focus for many years to come. Now with Healthy Eyes, here is your host, Dr. C.
7 minutes after the hour at NBC 1260 and 96.1 FM, the flagship of the new network coming up, and you'll hear more about that as we continue. Dr. C, you're like, what network? I got to bring you up to date on these things as I kind of make these commitments for you as your executive producer, Mark Shander.
It's still NBC, right?
It is.
Okay.
It is.
Just making sure.
Okay. So what's on the show today?
I thought we would take a step back. We've done a lot of things and gone over lenses and had specialists on here talking about things, and here we are in our first show of a new season, by the way. Thank you for those listeners who made that possible, all three of you. Just kidding. Just kidding. No, I thought we'd take a step back and talk about an eye exam and what it is we do. Because, one time you asked about, why should I be afraid of a dilation, or shouldn't I be afraid of a dilation, and what about the air puff and this, that, and the other. And so what I thought we would do is possibly go through an eye exam from start to finish.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And just discuss what it is we do. And then at some point in time, you had talked about possibly bringing Catherine in for an eye exam.
Yeah.
And, I'm more worried about that because I'd be doing all this stuff to her, but you'd be in the background. I don't know what you'd be saying that I'd be doing. That's the only thing that scares me about
what's that? What are you doing to my daughter?
I don't know what he just did to her, but it looks like it hurt.
We were talking about the theater of the mind thing because it was, yeah. Did that hurt? If she cries, I'm going to be really upset.
No, we don't do that. I mean, we've even got ways to get around that now.
Really?
Yeah, because sometimes when we do children, they have a problem with the drops that we use to dilate them, and we've actually started using a spray.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
And it's kind of so because you can do it real fast. But no, a lot of times we have to.
Do you hide it under the armpit of a little animal or something?
I'm not telling, just in case someone's listening. But no, because we had to put, not used to be, but up until like few weeks ago, we'd have to put a couple drops in. And now we got a formulation. It's a compounded medication that all 2 or 3 drops are in this one thing, and we can just spray it into the eyes, and they handle it a lot better.
When you dilate it's not dilate, it's dilate, right?
DIL. Yeah.
When you dilate a child's eyes, are you looking for something different than when you dilate an adult's eyes?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, when we dilate anybody, we're still opening up the pupil so we can get a good look at the back of the eye and check out peripheral parts of the retina. We can pretty much see the straight back, the posterior pole, without a huge dilation. But when we dilate, we're trying to look around through the periphery. However, dilation does 2 things. It also paralyzes the muscles that help us to read. It paralyzes the accommodative system. And so that's why under the age of 45 or so, when we dilate you, it makes it so you can't read also. Well, that's actually more important.
But you want your kids to read.
Yeah, but for a little while, we don't want them to, because with children, their eye muscles are so strong, they can sometimes give us a false reading.
False reading. As we're starting to look at the correction levels.
Yeah, we might find them to be a little bit nearsighted because their eye muscles are overworking, and it's not like they're doing it on purpose.
That's interesting.
They don't do it on purpose. It's just what the muscles do. Or they may be coming up right at zero, but when we dilate them and those muscles are forced to relax, all of a sudden they come about 2 or 3 diopters farsighted, which is significant. If they relax a little bit and they got a little bit more farsighted, that's fine. We don't mind that. But their eye muscles can work so hard, they're actually hiding some farsightedness from us. And those are kids typically that have reading problems because they can see 20/20 far away, they can see 20/20 up close, but they're really overworking their eyes to do it. So reading is not one of their favorite things to do. They'll do anything but read.
So you brought up some really interesting things when you said that. You can give someone a false impression of how good your vision is when you force your muscles to work harder.
Yeah. And again, a 6-year-old, 7-year-old, 10-year-old, they're not doing that on purpose. It's just what they do every day to see. If you happen to be 3 diopters farsighted, all you have to do is work your eyes those 3 diopters and you will see. If you're 3 diopters nearsighted, there's nothing you can do. You can squint, but you're not going to do anything to the muscles of your eyes to see better, so to speak. And so you don't want someone accommodating that much all day. Otherwise, again, reading's not going to be their favorite.
So diopters are units of measure of correction for lens prescriptions?
Exactly. Yeah, the plus is for farsightedness, minus is for nearsightedness, and you put the two together, you get some astigmatism in there, and that's how we get a prescription. But the children, the dilation adds another effect to it. We need to do what we call a cycloplegic exam because we're cyclopleging the eyes and making it so the accommodative system isn't working.
Is that what happens when you lick a frog?
When you what?
You get a cycloplegic...
Where does he come up with he doesn't know what to do.
I was just reading about these guys who lick a frog and then their eyes suddenly get dilated, and I thought everybody knew about licking the frog.
Well, now that you mentioned, I did read something about that at some point in time, but that wasn't coming to me just a second ago when you mentioned that. I was getting worried about you, Mark.
13 minutes after the hour, you're listening to Healthy Eyes on NBC 1260 and 96.1 FM, flagship station of a new network. We'll tell you more about as you listen. I'll tell you about your... Should be telling the host about this stuff. 480-423-1260 is the number to call if you'd like to get in on the conversation. We are live this Saturday afternoon from the Best Buy studios at NBC 1260 and 96.1. You're listening to host Dr. C, and Dr. C is Dr. John Chrysakis. And John, tell us a little bit about where you're from just before we go to the break.
I practice in Tempe, Tempe Eye Care Associates, basically the northeast corner of McClintock and Elliott in Tempe. I've been in Tempe for 25 years, and we've built a good practice there. We have another doctor. I have an associate, Dr. Kelsey, who works with me, and we see all kinds of primary care patients, for glasses, contacts, and going into secondary care with any types of eye infections and things like that.
And the reason why we tapped you to host this show is a matter of fact, you are a national speaker on things like macular degeneration.
I can be.
And you have an incredible you have an incredible reputation nationally for being someone who knows being an authority in eye care.
Well,
in the world.
I don't look at it quite that way because I go to a lot of lectures and there are a lot of guys that are a lot more intelligent than I am speaking there. What I try and bring to the table is a down-to-earth talk about things. Like if I talk to an older group about macular degeneration, I'm trying to put it in terms of that they can understand so that they know what it is they're supposed to do and what it is that we're supposed to do. And so that they're not totally confused, because sometimes you can just throw things at people, especially elderly people, and they don't really understand what they're supposed to do. And if you don't spell it out for them, or if they don't understand what they're supposed to be doing, it can be kind of difficult. So I just try to put things in layman's terms and let them know why I think they should do something and why it's going to be good for them.
Stay tuned at the end of the show. We'll tell you how to get a hold of Dr. C. You can ask questions directly. If you'd like to ask questions during the show, 480-423-1260 is the number to call. We'll be back with more of Healthy Eyes right after this.
Transitions Optical is dedicated to promoting healthy sight worldwide. Transitions lenses do more than correct and protect vision. They enhance the way you see everyday life. By adapting to changing light conditions, they bring out the best in all that you see, so life looks more vivid, more vibrant, more true. Transitions lenses are the #1 photochromic lenses recommended by eye care professionals worldwide. Protect your eyes and learn more about Transitions lenses by visiting your eye doctor or transitions.com.
Come on, Lisa, let's go before it gets dark.
Well, we haven't talked to everybody yet. Why do you want to go so soon?
You know I don't like driving at night. The lights on oncoming traffic and reflections are just awful.
I'll drive back tonight. I have my anti-reflective lenses with me. I don't have that problem.
Works for me. Let's get some more food.
Later that same evening.
Okay, everybody, smile for the camera.
Wait, I need to get my glasses off. They always reflect the light, and I don't like the way they look.
That's it. You're getting anti-reflective lenses, too.
Yahoo!
It's easy to remember to ask for Kodak lenses.
The doctors and staff of Tempe Eye Care Associates at 7511 South McClintock Drive in Tempe are committed to providing you state-of-the-art eye care services and products in a comfortable and friendly atmosphere. Remember the Bionic Man? We're not quite there yet, but we're not as far away as you might think. Through annual comprehensive eye examinations, the goal at Tempe Eye Care Associates is to not only maximize your visual performance, but to ensure and maintain your healthy eyes. As part of your annual examination, your visual acuity will be measured and a test known as refraction is conducted to determine your eye's refractive power. Further tests are performed to determine your visual coordination, muscle control, and focusing abilities. Your examination will include a comprehensive evaluation of your eye health to detect diseases such as glaucoma, cataracts, and retina and optic nerve abnormalities. The ocular health evaluation includes neurological assessments, measurement of internal eye pressure, and a thorough examination of the internal and external structures of the eye. Tempe Eye Care Associates also offers the OptoMap Retinal Examination System. OptoMap allows many patients the option to forego dilating drops by providing an ultra-wide view of the retina. While it doesn't replace dilation in all patients, it's an option for many. After performing these tests, their doctors will discuss your results and, if needed, explain your prescription and give you a better understanding of your overall eye health. Traditional options such as glasses, contact lenses, and eye medications will be discussed, as well as any other options you may need to consider. Dr. C is available to assist you personally, so you know you're getting the best available eye care, even if you're not on the Valley's basketball, baseball, hockey, or football teams. You'll see better after you see Dr. C. To make an appointment to visit Dr. C, call his office right now at 480-967-4910. That's 480-967-4910. Help keep your eyes healthy regardless of where you live in the Valley by starting with a call to the office of Dr. C. 480-967-4910 today. 480-967-4910, or visit www.tempeeyecareassociates.com. That's www.tempeeyecareassociates.com.
Now the talk continues, and you're just a phone call away on entertaining talk radio, NBC1260 and 96.1 FM. Welcome back to Healthy Eyes with Dr. C. Every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. Arizona time. Get in on the conversation. Call 480-423-1260 right now and talk about your healthy eyes on the air. Once again, with Healthy Eyes, here's your host, Dr. C.
20 minutes after the hour at NBC 1260, 96.1 FM. You're listening to Healthy Eyes. We are at the flagship of a new network we're going to tell you more about live from the Best Buy studios. Not that it's a new network for the station, but for informational programming that we kind of are doing. So it'll be kind of interesting. You can get in on the conversation, ask Dr. C a question at 480-423-1260. And it's not just medical stuff, by the way. There's actually going to be some information about different stuff, one of which would be a motorcycle show with a new host we might tell you more about coming up as well. That's what I'm working on also.
Can he be in there and in here at the same time?
Isn't that something? Yeah, he's got a microphone next to him. So all of those shows would be on this station, and this would be the flagship for that particular network, so we'll share more about that. Exciting stuff.
Wow.
But so we started to talk about kids, and kids are, of course...
actually, you started talking about kids. I started talking about an eye exam.
Oh, yeah.
And going through the whole eye exam, and you took off on the kids, which is fine, because that's what the show's all about. We go where we need to go.
It's a good time to get started, though, is get people involved in taking care of their health in general when they're young, because then when they're on their own, you've trained them to kind of take care of themselves, and that goes for general health as well.
Sure. Whether it's dentistry, general health,
diabetes and stuff like that, it happens a lot, or at least type 2, because people didn't teach their kids how to eat healthy, stay healthy, get exercise, and that sort of thing.
And with your eyes, some children come in and they're pretty nearsighted, but that's all they've ever known. And so they don't know any different. They don't know that they were supposed to see this. And it's amazing sometimes when we give a child their first pair of glasses, whether it be for astigmatism, farsightedness, nearsightedness, and they put the glasses on, and it's a whole different world. And those of you that wear glasses out there know what it was like the first time you got glasses and realized that trees do have leaves. They're not just big green bushes.
Well, you wear glasses. Describe that experience. I mean, from the point that we're going to talk about the eye exam, but what happens after the exam? You get your first pair of glasses. What's it like when you're out in the world again, if you will, and you get your first pair of glasses, and life changes because the way you see things in your life.
Oh, sure. I mean, your whole perception of things changes only because, again, we'll go with only because the most common prescription we're going to give a child is for nearsightedness. So, we'll go with that. All of a sudden, they walk out, and it may take them a few days to adjust to the glasses only because they're not used to seeing that way. Or I'll tell an athlete all the time that comes in uncorrected. They might be a 13-year-old basketball player, and I'll tell them that ultimately they're going to see better, and ultimately they're going to shoot better because they're going to have better depth perception. But in the beginning, it may throw them off because they're used to taking into account that prescription and compensating for that prescription, and whatever they had to do to make it work, they did. Well, now all of a sudden, their perception's off. They're going to shoot worse at first, or they're going to hit. If they're a baseball player, they're not going to hit as well at first. Even though they're seeing better, they're not used to what they're seeing. But ultimately, when you have two eyes that are corrected as well as they can be, your depth perception is going to be better, and it's going to get better the more you use the eyes together. So, even if you're not an athlete, just wearing the glasses, you're going to, at first, you might have a little trouble. You might get some headaches. You might get a little bit of eye strain. But ultimately, you're going to see a heck of a lot better. You're going to have, again, better depth perception, so you won't be as bad at recess when you're out there goofing around. But the other thing, if it's a nearsighted child, they're used to reading without their glasses on, and they can read pretty well when you're nearsighted. But all of a sudden, you give them glasses for far away, they can't read as well because now their eyes have to work. And until their eyes learn how to do that, a lot of times I'll tell them to take their glasses off because they don't work their eyes at all to read if you're nearsighted. So why work them at all? Take them off and let your eyes adjust to that. And so it just changes everything as far as your perception goes.
What about, I don't know how to put this without making it sound like it's a burden to have glasses, but how does it change the amount of time you need to get ready in the morning, the amount of the things you do at work? And
you roll out of bed, depending on what your prescription is. You roll out of bed, put your glasses on. I'm very, very nearsighted. First thing I do is put my glasses on because otherwise I can't see where I'm going. But the average person could probably get up and do a lot of things, get in the shower, do whatever they have to do before they can put the glasses on if they only need them for far away. Again, as we get older and you start losing the sight up close, a lot of times you got to put them on when you first get up if you want to see anything.
What about like cleaning? I mean, I see people cleaning their glasses like I see them cleaning their phone. There's some people who don't want a single fingerprint on their phone.
Good luck with that one.
Yeah. but they're, I mean, it's like, like my computer monitor, the guy who sits next to me, and I just started in a new role at work. The guy who sits next to me has a lot of fingerprints on his laptop. I'm like, how do
drives you crazy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's different. Different personalities. People put up with different stuff. You can keep your phone as clean as you can. Some people keep their glasses as clean as they can. The new coatings we talked about with Stan at various times are much better at keeping things off of them. However, you still need to clean them. But you should always wet them down, by the way. Wet down your lenses and use a lint-free cloth to clean them.
Talk about that for a second. When you're wetting
paper products.
Okay, can you use glass cleaner?
You can use glass cleaners. I don't really like a lot of alcohol in, for the glasses. I don't. I mean, if you have a lot of alcohol in the solution, sometimes that can hurt some of the coatings that they use. But, a gentle solution, we give, like anyone who gets glasses from us, we give them a spray bottle of solution. But you're not always going to have that with you. Even if you just rinse them off with water, that's better than nothing. Just put them under a drinking fountain, whatever you have to do to wet them down, and then clean them off with a hanky or a lint-free cloth. Or again, we'll give people a new, not a new type of cloth, but it's a cloth that helps you clean your glasses, especially with the new coatings, with the anti-reflective coatings that are on there. And the glare coats, sometimes those can, show a smudge a little bit more, so you want to clean those off, but you don't want to scratch the lenses by cleaning them, so you wet them down.
Yeah, the guy who sits next to me is brilliant, by the way. I mean, he's got all the tools he needs to do his job, and he does have the cleaning stuff, so just use it. It's like, but I find that a lot, because what people used to do to upset me is when I wasn't looking, they'd come over and they'd put a fingerprint on my thing.
Right, because they know you'd clean it off.
Yeah.
But, and that's just, again, that's personality. Some people are like that with their cars. Some people are like that.
But it's not necessary to constantly clean your eyes. Your glasses. Your eyes are blinking, right? And you're kind of cleaning your lenses, if you will. Mm-hmm. And, you're constantly cleaning, and but you don't have to do the same thing with glasses. They're not. You don't have to be afraid that they're work.
No, but you do need to. You need to keep them clean. If my father's listening out there, because I'm always on him about cleaning his glasses. Because I'm like, why do you even bother to wear them? Yeah, because there's too much stuff on them. But clean them off, you'll see a little better. There's no doubt about that.
Interesting. So tell us about the experience. You get into the office, and I guess it's like any type of a situation. When you have someone who makes you feel more comfortable, you have a better experience.
Right. And so, the first thing that we have to do in an examination is take a case history. And the case history is typically done by my staff. And a case history is going to ask the patient to tell us why they're there. What's your chief complaint? The main reason you're there, is it a vision problem? Does your eye hurt? This, that, and the other. And then as we go along, my staff is trained to ask other questions that would possibly help us go down a path to a certain diagnosis that I could make, and then a treatment. And so if someone if it's a routine eye exam, we'll put down that it's a routine eye exam. But most people do have a reason for coming in. It's usually visual when they come to see us, or something, whether it's an eye infection or a red eye for some particular reason. But the key to a case history is, from the patient standpoint, is to tell the doctor what the problem is, or why you're there, or what bothers you. Like sometimes we'll do a half-hour exam, and at the end of it, they'll say, oh yeah, and by the way, I never could see out of these glasses.
Wow.
They're like, why did you tell me that? Even though we're going to find that out amazing. As we go along. But or they'll say at the very end, oh, and by the way, and maybe it might be a guy that a lot of men don't complain. I get wives that come in with husbands all the time because they know they're not going to tell me what they've been complaining about for the last 6 months, and the wife's sick and tired of hearing about it. So they come in to make sure that he tells me that this eye's tearing, or every morning this eye tears, or every evening my eyes get dry. And they want to make sure that they tell them, because they're tired of hearing about it at home.
Wow, that's interesting. So if somebody has a situation like the eyes are tearing or something like that, that's something that you help with. You wouldn't.
Yeah,
I don't know why you wouldn't about that. Think that was pertinent, but it really is.
Yeah, and you don't want to come in and read a laundry list, or like take out Santa's list and you're reading, 15, 16 things that are all wrong, because typically it doesn't work like that. But you need to let us know what your chief complaint is and what's bothering you, because it isn't quote unquote normal for one eye to tear every night at 7:00. So if we can find out why it's doing that, we'd love to find out if it's an allergy or something that's going on.
Quick scenario, and then I'm going to give the phone number so people can ask questions of their own. I have a friend, and you guys can start, your own questions to Dr. C the same way I'm doing it, for any reason you might want to. But you're in the office late at night, and you start to notice, as you slouch in your chair and make your adjustment, that the fluorescent lights right above your cube are causing you to be uncomfortable. And if you cover like this, it's much more comfortable. And if you're not covering it like this, it's like it being out in the sun almost. It's starting to be painful. Is that something that a visit to your office could help, or to any eye doctor's office, if you will?
It could, but you could do a lot of that. You could fix that on your own by just doing a little experimentation. Like, if you're looking at a computer, but you got the overhead lights and it's bothering you, is it the reflection from that light off the computer that's bothering you? Is it just the ambient light that's bothering you?
I think my friend would tell you no, it's not that, because they have an anti-reflective screen.
Okay. So you've been asked to ask this question. So
yes, okay. Somebody very close to me has asked me to ask this question.
So and if it's an anti-reflective screen, you're not getting that off off of the
it's actually
screen.
the fluorescent light is bothering. Now looking at the screen causes this person no issue at all, and then they go like this, no problem, everything's fine. But the direct fluorescent light,
then they need to experiment with that. What they might do better by turning that fluorescent light off. I have a lot of patients that come in and say they turn their lights off in their office. It also depends on the type of fluorescence and the age of the fluorescence. By that I mean the older fluorescent lights actually flicker.
Yeah.
And you could almost see it sometimes, and as they start to go bad, it gets even worse. And that drives me crazy personally. But it could be something with the type of fluorescent that it is. It could be something with the amount of light that's coming off it. Some are brighter than others. Some have more of a yellowish or a bluish hue to them. And so you got to play with that too. The first thing I would do is, if they're on a rheostat, even though a lot of fluorescents aren't, turn it down and see what happens if it's a little less illuminating, or just turn it off altogether and see what happens. Or you just may need to change that receptacle.
Okay, but it's not a physical issue that somebody should worry about.
Typically not. It's something that has to do with the way their eyes are reacting to that light.
On behalf of my friend, 32.
I think his friend's sitting right next to me.
I have an imaginary friend. 28 minutes till the top of the hour. You're listening to Healthy Eyes with Dr. C. We are live from the Best Buy studios at NBC 1260 and 96.1 FM. Your questions are very welcome. Give us a call right now. 480-423-1260 is the number to call. Again, 480-423-1260. And we will be back with more of Healthy Eyes right after this.
Come on, Lisa, let's go before it gets dark.
Well, we haven't talked to everybody yet. Why do you want to go so soon?
You know I don't like driving at night. The lights on oncoming traffic and reflections are just awful.
I'll drive back tonight. I have my anti-reflective lenses with me. I don't have that problem.
Works for me. Let's get some more food.
Later that same evening.
Okay, everybody, smile for the camera.
Wait, I need to get my glasses off. They always reflect the light, and I don't like the way they look.
That's it. You're getting anti-reflective lenses too.
Yahoo!
It's easy to remember to ask for Kodak lenses.
Hi, I'm Mark Shander, executive producer of Healthy Eyes. Every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. right here on NBC 1260 and 96.1 FM. Your eyes are more than just your window to the world. They're how other people see you, and sometimes see right through you. Find out how to protect your vision with the latest technology in eye care this Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. right here on NBC 1260 and 96.1 FM.
Transitions Optical is dedicated to promoting healthy sight worldwide. Transitions lenses do more than correct and protect vision. They enhance the way you see everyday life. By adapting to changing light conditions, they bring out the best in all that you see, so life looks more vivid, more vibrant, more true. Transitions lenses are the #1 photochromic lenses recommended by eye care professionals worldwide. Protect your eyes and learn more about Transitions lenses by visiting your eye doctor or transitions.com.
Now the talk continues, and you're just a phone call away on entertaining talk radio, NBC 1260 and 96.1 FM. Welcome back to Healthy Eyes with Dr. C. Every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. Arizona time. Get in on the conversation. Call 480-423-1260 right now and talk about your healthy eyes on the air. Once again, with Healthy Eyes, here's your host, Dr. C.
35 minutes after the hour, we're back talking about an eye examination. We're not getting too far because I keep getting questions, and I wouldn't mind if they were questions from the public and from the viewing audience, but it's the guy sitting next to me that keeps asking me these questions. No, we enjoy the banter. Mark brings up a lot of good questions, and so I don't mind not getting through my agenda here. Just leaves more for future shows, which hopefully Mark's going to tell us about in the future when we're talking about flagship stations and moving on. But anyway, I was just talking about the case history and how important that is when you go in for an eye exam. But a case history is important whenever you see a doctor. I don't care if you're going to the dentist or your primary care provider. Letting them know what your chief complaint is the main reason you're there. Because most doctors are going to run unless it's a routine wellness exam. Most doctors are going to run a symptom-specific exam where we're going to try and figure out what's going on with the reason that you're there or the reason that brought you in. And so that's important. But then now what differentiates an eye exam, the next thing we're going to do is take your visual acuity. And what visual acuity is telling us how well you see, far away and up close. We need to do your acuity far and near. We use something in our office. It's a, if you remember the old acuity projectors, basically you shine the light down there and the letters are down there and they were the same all the time. I mean, we could change the levels, but they were all the same letters all the time. You know,
like the E,
like you knew that 2020 was TZVECL. And even if we had a patient that was in the office just once, after a couple of times of seeing that, they'd know it was TZVECL or OHP and and all the other ones. But so as soon as, and seeing eye doctors all my life since my eyes are pretty bad, as soon as they came out with these computerized acuity charts, I got them, and I've had them ever since. So that way, every time I hit the button, I can get multiple infinite 20/20 lines, and the letters always change. So it's randomized, and so they can't ever memorize letters.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, because I used to say that the left eye never has a chance, because by convention, we always do the right eye first. And so they'll learn the letters with the right eye, so the left eye is always going to know what the letters are. So it's always at a disadvantage. But nonetheless, we need to know how you're seeing, far and near, because that's what we're going to try and improve on later when we do the refraction. We're going to check your pupils. The pupil is the diaphragm. The iris is the diaphragm creating the pupil, but the pupil is the little black hole right in the center of the eye, and that's where the light goes through to where we can begin the refracting process. But we're going to check the pupils because the pupils are a very neurologically sensitive, I don't want to call it an organ, but it is basically a sign that we can look at to see if there are any neurological problems going on. We're looking at the size, we're looking at the reaction, we're looking to make sure they're equal and symmetrical. That's what you, on all the shows on TV, you'll see them shining lights in the eyes and talking about pupils being direct and consensual, and just so we can check and make sure that the pupils are working right.
Well, what's consensual mean? That they're behaving the same in each eye? Do you have scenarios where the eyes aren't behaving the same?
Well, you get a lot of traumas can cause, you get a head trauma, it's going to cause one pupil to dilate over the other one. One might be reactive and the other one's not.
You see that in cartoons where like eyes are spinning and the one's dial,
But the other thing consensual can mean is when I shine a light in your right eye and that pupil constricts, the left eye is going to constrict too.
It's not like one eye saying stop and you're saying you really mean continue.
There are some conditions where you don't get a consensual response, where you shine a light in here and it constricts and this one doesn't.
Sounds illegal.
Sometimes you can, oh God, he's taking me down that road again. So nonetheless, to move on past the pupils and consensual and consexual and whatever you'll, oh my, then we check the muscles, the extraocular muscles. Extraocular muscles are very strong.
This is the part where a lot of people have questions, because how do you measure how an eye muscle is working and how much you have to strain to make an eye muscle work?
Well, that's a good question that we do not. You can harness up a muscle and figure out how hard it's working, but we're not going to do that.
Harness up an eye muscle.
Yeah. I mean, now I'm going into the lab, and there are different things you can do to see how much energy is going to that muscle or how much that muscle can pull.
I'm seeing a little tiny sleigh in you.
Well, I thought I was taking you back to the frog.
Yeah, okay.
But nonetheless, the thing with the eye muscles, eye muscles are very strong, very fast, very intricate. I mean, they can move and as you can, when you do saccades and versions where you're moving your eyes back and forth and at a quick speed, and you don't see very well when they're moving, but once you get there, you can see almost instantaneously again. But it's just amazing to watch and to look at how all the muscles work, because again, because of trauma, because of neurological problems, because of certain disorders, you might get a palsy of one of the extraocular muscles. It may not be able to go up or down, left or right, along with the other one, because you want them moving symmetrically. One eye may be able to go to the left, and the other one can only go to the midline, but can't keep going. And those people are going to get double vision, because if the eyes aren't looking together at the same thing, you're going to see double. And so we're always looking to make sure the muscles are working okay, and that they're working together. And if they're not, we have to figure out which muscle is it that isn't working, and is it the muscle or is it the nerve that innervates it that's creating the problem? And that can, again, take you back down, and you just start getting branches as you go to where you can begin to find out what the cause is of that problem. And it may be a tumor in the brain that's affecting the muscle, affecting a nerve that's affecting the muscle, that's affecting the vision and creating double vision. So you just have to watch all those things and make sure. And again, most of the time people come in there, our muscles are working fine. We just have to watch and make sure that's what they're doing.
Wow.
So it's something it becomes something we do all the time, and it can get tedious, but all of a sudden if that eye doesn't do what it's supposed to do, it's everyone from the office comes running in. That's not that bad. We just have to make sure we don't get caught up in the tedium of things and not see something like that, because it can be a telltale sign that something else is going on.
Now, when people are going into a place that handles a lot of customers all at once and typically gets you in, gets you out really quick, what are the chances that that particular person is going to take the time to do all of these things and make sure they see these little intricate things that, like to your point, could be a big issue?
It depends on, I personally think it depends on whether the patient's noticed any problem. I think the more the patient complains or tells the doctor about what's going on, that's going to lead them down the path. I don't care where you practice, to be honest, because there are just certain things you have to do as a practitioner to solve the patient's problem. It's when there really is no symptom and there really isn't, they don't have a complaint, and you're just doing a general eye exam. That's when it's actually more important to catch these things, because if there's a true symptom, you're gonna go after that, and you're gonna study that a little bit more carefully. Where if there is no complaint, you have to take a little more time to check things out.
So if there's no complaint, would you typically look for something?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think you have to do baseline tests on all these things just to make sure they're all working okay.
Because I think a lot of, I could be wrong, but it sounds like a lot of companies that maybe their primary goal is to sell you a couple of pairs of glasses potentially might rush the process, and those particular doctors might be more interested in finding out what your prescription is than doing those preliminary stages that you just talked about to make sure that they potentially could find a bigger issue with you. Not saying that they don't, of course.
Yeah, and it can be a problem.
But it sounds like time is really necessary, and being meticulous is really necessary.
Well,
they might not have the time.
You have to take your time and to find those things. But there are ways around that too. Not around it, but there are ways that you can delegate that. You can actually have staff do a lot of those things, if they know what they're looking for and alert the doctor of things, then we can take it on further. So the doctor doesn't have to physically be there doing all these things, as long as someone's checking to make sure that they're working okay.
That's probably a really good idea, is to have more than just the doctor checking.
Well, you have to,
the patient in the eye exam.
Any doctor you go to nowadays, they're delegating more, and it's only because the way healthcare is going, and you want to make sure that the patient's still getting good care, but you're delegating a lot more to things that can be delegated. The doctor doesn't have to see you from the time you go in to the time you leave. There are a lot of, like in our office too, there's instrumentation that a lot of times I'll tell the staff when we're done with an exam, if there's some specialty tests I do, I tell them I need this, and that, and again, you'll get that done anywhere, and then we go back in and I review what those test results are with the patient to see if there was any problem.
If I'm a patient of yours, should I insist that you do everything, or is it okay that I allow you, if you will, to utilize some of your office staff?
No, it's definitely okay. As a matter of fact, it would probably cause chaos if someone said, I want you to do everything. Because to be honest, there are some of those machines I learned how to run when we got them, but I would be slower than they are at them now. So you probably want the flow to go the way it normally does, because that is probably the most efficient that office runs, is when they're doing things according to the staff that's been trained to do those things, and the doctor comes in and just goes off on the things that they think are important.
So the staff gets training. Do they get certification? I understand they're not all doctors.
Yeah,
but are they certified?
Oh, they can. There are different levels of certification.
Seriously?
Oh yeah,
okay.
you can get the different levels through ophthalmic certification, optometric certification. There are different levels of what they do. Now, do they have to be certified? No. But I personally believe that the more certification they have, it's just good, because that just means they've been trained more.
15 minutes till the top of the hour, you're listening to Healthy Eyes. We are live from the Best Buy studios at NBC1260 and 96.1 FM. Dr. C is the host of our show. I'm executive producer Mark Shander. At the end of the show, you'll find out how to get a hold of Dr. C and how to get a hold of me if you'd like to potentially be a guest on the show, if you'd like to potentially contribute to the show in one way or another, maybe be a sponsor, you never know. Again, you'll get that contact information at the end of the show, and we will be back with more of Healthy Eyes right after this.
Transitions Optical is dedicated to promoting healthy sight worldwide. Transitions lenses do more than correct and protect vision. They enhance the way you see everyday life. By adapting to changing light conditions, they bring out the best in all that you see, so life looks more vivid, more vibrant, more true. Transitions lenses are the #1 photochromic lenses recommended by eye care professionals worldwide. Protect your eyes and learn more about Transitions lenses by visiting your eye doctor or transitions.com.
Come on, Lisa, let's go before it gets dark.
Well, we haven't talked to everybody yet. Why do you want to go so soon?
You know I don't like driving at night. The lights on oncoming traffic and reflections are just awful.
I'll drive back tonight. I have my anti-reflective lenses with me. I don't have that problem.
Works for me. Let's get some more food.
Later that same evening.
Okay, everybody, smile for the camera.
Wait, I need to get my glasses off. They always reflect the light, and I don't like the way they look.
That's it. You're getting anti-reflective lenses, too.
Yahoo!
It's easy to remember to ask for Kodak lenses.
Now the talk continues, and you're just a phone call away on Entertaining Talk Radio, NBC 1260 and 96.1 FM. Welcome back to Healthy Eyes with Dr. C. Every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. Arizona time. Get in on the conversation. Call 480-423-1260 right now and talk about your healthy eyes on the air. Once again, with Healthy Eyes, here's your host, Dr. C.
48 minutes after the hour, we're back at NBC 1260 and 96.1 FM. And this is Healthy Eyes. I'm Dr. John Chryssakis, an optometrist from Tempe Eye Care Associates, here with executive producer Mark Shander.
Hello,
and we're talking about eye exams and everything else about the eyes, and we go off on tangents, and we're just having a great time today. But I'm going to move on with my eye exam because the next part I know is going to get your juices going, where you're going to have all kinds of questions. But before I go to the refraction, the other thing we do is we screen the peripheral vision. We'll put fingers up in different areas to make sure you cover one eye. You always have to cover one eye, so you're only looking with one, and we put fingers up in different areas to make sure you can see peripherally. It's a very gross test. It's a screening test just to make sure you're not missing half the vision over here. If we want to get a more intricate test, we'll go in and do a visual field test that is, instrumentation that you will look into. But
so we talked about this on a previous show, and that's the same kind of thing that when you're at getting your driver's license, they're flashing to the right, flashing to the left, and seeing if you see the flashes in your peripheral vision.
And this is basically doing the same thing. We're just making sure that, you can have a condition where you don't see anything in the upper left corner of the vision of your right eye, but you wouldn't know that because your left eye can see up there. So with both eyes open, you never notice it. Or even with both eyes open, or even if one eye's not open, you might not notice it because your eye's moving around. But when we isolate one eye and do that, it just gives us a gross observation as to whether you're seeing in all four quadrants. And if you're not, then again, we can investigate further. But then we move on to everyone's favorite part of an eye exam, and that's the refraction. The refraction is where we spin the dials and try to get what we call the best corrected visual acuity, where what kind of prescription can we give you to get you to see the best. And whenever I talk about a subjective refraction, subjective meaning we're going to ask you questions, you're going to tell us what you see, we're going to say which is better, one or two. That's everyone's always afraid of that, almost as much as the ear puff. It's like, oh, this isn't the test where you're going to ask me which one I like better, is it? And yeah, it is. And there are ways we can get around that we have a lot more objective testing now. We have some autorefractors that get us pretty close to the prescription. But in my estimation, you still have to ask some questions subjectively to fine-tune that objective measurement. And so we do that by what we call bracketing the prescription, where we're just trying to get as close as we can, and by asking
This
you
one
which one looks better.
or this one?
Exactly.
This one or this one?
And I only go up to 8. I stop at 8 and go back to 1 again. Other people, I'm sure, go up to 27 if they need to. But it's just a different. Some people might use A and B or this one, that one, and whatever. It's whatever they feel comfortable with to get the patient to tell a difference. And if you can't tell a difference, that's good. I mean, that tells us that we're pretty close to where we want to be. Because if we're bracketing again, and this is where we want to be, and I'm saying which is better, 1 or 2, and you say it's about the same, we're done.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so
I always think that's an error
right,
when I hear about that.
So again, before we do the exam, I'll say, just tell me which one you see better. Don't worry about it. Don't stress about it. If you want to see it again, tell me. I'll show it to you again. And if you ever can't tell a difference, tell me that.
So what were those units of measure called?
Diopters.
So the diopters, and that's actually the physical thing I'm looking through at the time you're doing this.
The machine that you look through has all different powers of lenses in it for nearsightedness, farsightedness, astigmatism. It's got prism in there too, which we'll talk about here in a second.
So if you've got, and I'm looking forward to hearing about that.
Yeah. I said prism, not prison.
Oh, so there's 2 eye prison. So anyway, you've got these. You said you might be. I can't tell the difference between 2 of them. So how do you write the prescription if either one might be okay?
No, meaning the prescription is like if I have this when I'm showing you. This is actually a visual that you can't see on the radio. But if this is where I want that prescription to be, and I bracket you and I say which is better, number 1 or number 2, and you say it's about the same, that's the prescription right there.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Because if I'm bracketing a quarter diopter on each side,
you can do
about the same.
You can do fractions of diopters.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we deal in quarter diopters. Some doctors, if they want to be picky, can probably go down to 1/8 diopters, but the lab's going to laugh at you anyway. Because they'll make it in quarter diopters because it's just easier, and it's within the standards of what the ANSI standards are. But nonetheless, when we come up with a prescription that's pretty close, they're not going to notice a difference if we vary off to one side or the other. So it's important that someone doesn't use that as a crutch and from the very beginning say, "No, it's the same. No, it's the same," because then we'll never get anywhere. But if we're showing tending to go in one way or the other, and then all of a sudden we get to where it doesn't matter, either way is the same, we're pretty close to being done.
Cool.
And so then we, while we're doing the refraction, we have the best prescription. Then we start putting different prisms into the in front of the patient so we can see how their eyes tend to want to rest and how hard they're working to see far away, how hard, even more importantly, how hard they're working up close. Because now we're getting into the near testing and how they're seeing up close. Are they 46 and having some trouble up close? So there's a different prescription up close than there is far away after a certain age, the quote unquote magical age. And so we have to test that to see if it's working okay. We also have to test nowadays. We're getting a lot of people coming in with complaining about headaches and eye irritation from computers. So we have to do testing up close to see, are they overworking their eyes, underworking their eyes? Do they need some help one way or the other, whether it's with lenses or prisms, to try and make it so that their eyes can work together? Because it's a totally different dynamic for your eyes to look far away versus looking up close. Because then you also have to bring what we call convergence into it. And not to get too technical, but when you look up close, 2 things have to happen. I have to make it clear enough for you, but your eyes still have to converge. They have to come together at the near point. And I may make it totally clear for you, but if your eyes don't want to come together, you're either going to have eye strain or you're going to see double. And so sometimes we have to give the eyes some help with convergence in addition to what we have to do to get them focused there.
So how do you do that? How do you get the eyes to converge?
Well,
I mean, let me ask, is it the thing where they put a pen in front of you and say, follow this with my eye? And
no, it is, but it's a pencil push-up in that you're taking this, and we don't care about the sideways now. We did that for the testing for the muscles. Now you're going to bring it in.
Oh, okay.
And we want to make sure your eyes can come in a good ways, at least inside of where you read. If your eyes can't converge that far, you're not going to be a happy reader.
Is that called targeting when you're doing that?
No.
Because I watch RoboCop and he's targeting, and I'm like, maybe it's the same thing. I don't know. I thought it.
See what I mean? I got to put up with this. But but let's say you cannot converge your eyes very well. Everyone can converge a little bit, unless again they have a problem with the neurological connections there. But typically, you might not be able to converge enough. Or a lot of kids overconverge. Their eyes are so powerful they overconverge. And we'll come up with different things we can do to relax the eyes out to where they need to be, or in the case of a lot of older adults, to help them converge.
It sounds like eye strain would be an issue for some.
That's what causes the eye strain.
Oh, okay.
It's possibly a convergence issue. So sometimes we might give them an exercise to do to try and help the muscles out if it's a muscular problem. If it's something that we know that's not going to help, we might put Prism in the glasses. Prism is not a refracting device. Prism will not focus light. Prism does not have there are prism diopters, but it's not the same. It doesn't focus light. A prism bends light. And so let's say you cannot converge your eyes to come in like this. We can put prism into the glasses so that the prism does some helps you converge. So are you listening to me?
I'm sorry, I get distracted.
Are you just kind of looking off into space? It's okay. Most of my staff does that too. But so basically what
there's a lot of stuff to focus on.
Yeah, there you go. So what the prism does is it bends light and makes it easier for you to use both eyes together.
So this is not something like I want to say when you see the line in the glasses.
No, that's a bifocal.
Okay.
No, the prism you don't see. You don't even know there's glasses. No.
Wow.
And prism, we'll use prism a lot on, let's say, again, I go to older adults. It can be younger people, but a lot of older adults.
It's bending light away from the center of the eye?
No, it's bending light wherever we want to bend it. We may bend it left or right, or high or low. We give a lot of vertical prism. As we get older, sometimes the eyes tend to drift, and one will go a little bit higher than the other, and you'll see double. So we have to put prism in the glasses so that way this eye can stay up like this, but the prism will bend the light down. So now this eye can be like this, and you'll still see single because the light's going right to the middle of the retina.
Is it because of the shape of the eye changing with age, or what causes that?
That's usually a muscle problem. It's usually something going on with the muscles or the innervation to the muscles where they're just getting a little bit we'll just say the status quo isn't quite the same, and so one muscle's a little bit off, and it might send one a little bit vertical or higher or lower, or it might send one out or in compared to the other one. And so as long as it doesn't go out too far or in too far, sometimes we can control that with a prism. And so that's part of the refraction too.
Interesting. So do coatings on lenses change the way the prism works?
Nope.
Not at all.
Not at all. I mean, the coatings nowadays, they're just, and I almost hate calling them coatings, even though they are, because they're impregnated into the lens now. And that's what makes them so much better than they used to be. I used to have people coming back after a year, and these things, you could see crazing on the lens where the coatings were starting to come off. And that doesn't happen as much anymore because the coatings are a heck of a lot better. Even though I still have patients that come in, and when we recommend an anti-glare coating, nope, I had that once and it crazed. I didn't like it. I couldn't see anything. And we know we're not going to talk them out of it. So, okay, whatever.
But the technology's changed. And that's one of the beautiful things about this show is you find out what's going on, what the latest in technology is, and why having something done at a place. I don't mean to be pushing your place, but instead of one of those mass places is the fact that you have the latest technology and you use it every time a patient comes in.
Well, yeah, and so what you have to be concerned with is, and some people are concerned and some people aren't. But there's a level of care you're going to get, but then there's also what you're going to get as far as the quality of the products.
Okay, and also because of that technology, you have a higher chance of getting the right prescription and the right extra stuff, if you will, that helps you.
Gosh, we hope so. We try.
Well, how do people get a hold of you, Dr. C?
Our phone number is 480-967-4910. The website's www.tempeyecareassociates.com, or the shortcut is www.drsee.com.
Okay, and give your phone number again very slowly. I'm sorry.
480-967-4910.
4910. Okay, and the website again?
www.drsee.com.
Okay. And is there anything else you want to share with us just before we wrap up?
Yeah, I only got halfway through this eye exam, so we'll continue on that with that subject matter next week.
Sounds good. And thank you for being a part of Healthy Eyes and for listening to us. And we will see you next week on Healthy Eyes.
NBC 1260 is KBSZ, Apache Junction. Also operates on translator K241BQ at 96.1 FM.